Hey, I'm Kent Dunn.
I'm Rich Bonaducci.
And today we have a few movies to talk about. First up is War Dogs.
Then we're going to talk about Kubo and the Two Strings.
And let's not forget the remake of Ben-Hur.
Let's not forget that. Right here on Talk 365. Hello and welcome to the show. Kent Dunn is here from ShowtimeShowdown.com.
And everything else.
And everything else.
Yeah. If you want to go hear my podcast, if you want to hear my voice more, I don't know why you would, but you should. Go subscribe to them on iTunes. It's Bacon Cell and Podbash. So go check them out.
We missed some movies last week, so we're just going to do a whole show this week of movies we need to get caught up on. Then next week we'll get to the ones that are going to be out that week.
Or the week before.
Or the week before, kind of. What we're doing in this show is Kubo and the Two Strings, the remake of Ben-Hur, and right now, War Dogs.
Right. So War Dogs. You may have seen the trailer. We have Jonah Hill in his most annoying form yet, possibly. Maybe.
Could be.
Miles Teller from Whiplash of 2 years ago. They come together. They seem like teenagers who were profiting off of the Iraq War.
We're talking exclusive access to a stockpile of Soviet bloc non-standard weapons and ammo. That's gonna win this deal for us.
He's on a terrorist watch list.
Whatever, people end up on that list for bringing scissors onto an airplane.
That's not why he's on the list.
Look, the Pentagon wants 100 million rounds of AK-47 ammo in the middle of a worldwide shortage. Where do you think they think that's gonna come from? This is the job, to do business with the people and places the U.S. government can't do business with directly. It's as simple as that.
And it is played like a stoner comedy to start with. Really unlikable, I would say, to an extent. But then for some reason, you care about these annoying characters. And care might be the wrong word. You watch them.
Yeah, you at least want to see what happens to them.
Yes, because you know they're going to crash and burn at some point, so you're like, I'm just going to go along for the ride.
And of course, they help with Miles Teller's character. He is married, and now she's pregnant, is going to have a child.
Right.
So there's that added element there of, oh boy, hope this is okay. If it had just been those two guys with no one else to care about, it might not have been as strong.
Sure.
Because you're right, Jonah Hill is super annoying here. Although some of his earliest scenes, which I think they play out in the trailer in bits,
Yeah.
so you don't really know what's happening. He's funny. It's like I won't
funny.
say he's likable, but
No, he's
he
not.
is funny.
He's detestable.
Yeah, you want to watch him. You want
Yeah.
to see what this guy's going to do next. And I found myself, admittedly, rooting for them a little bit.
Okay.
Hoping that they would, like, hey, man, they're making good, you know?
No, they're doing their job.
Well, our job.
Exactly. And so the director taking us for the ride is Todd Phillips, and that name may be familiar to some of you. He is the director of the Hangover trilogy. You can call that a trilogy. More just like one movie duplicated.
Just three of them.
And also Due Date. So he's done straight up comedy. He's done a little bit more intense. He tries to do his own style. I don't think he's quite found his footing, even in this movie, because tonally, like I said, it is a stoner comedy to a war drama to just, well, I don't want to get into it, but
I don't want to give too much away.
He gets a bit lost, and I think he may be the weak part because these two leads, as annoying and detestable as they are the strong point for me.
I was actually pleased with Mr. Miles Teller. I did like him
Same.
in Whiplash. I had
Loved
some
him.
problems with the movie in other ways, but
Because you're a drumming geek.
and then Fantastic Four happened, and I went, wow, he needs something.
Yeah, he needs a win.
And he's good in this.
He is.
He's good as the guy you might even identify a little bit with, because he's just trying to get by. He's a massage therapist.
Yeah.
He's working hard to take care
Kid
of
on
his
the way.
family, and he gets this chance,
Hey.
and he won't let it go.
A little bit of corruption. It's not going to hurt,
Just a
right?
little,
And that's
yeah.
where the movie goes,
Yeah.
essentially.
Now, I did like some parts in the movie. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but they decide to do some title cards in between that are quotes.
Yes.
That are kind of
Almost
foreshadowing.
chapter headings.
Right.
Right.
Chapter headings, yeah, of what's to come. And it's interesting when that line finally clicks and lands in the story.
You're right.
And some of them are pretty good. Like, when has telling the truth ever helped anyone? And all that kind of stuff, some of these things. And as expected, money and power corrupts. And these guys got it. They're dealing with awful people, and sometimes they got to do some awful things. Which brings up one little guest to the show from the Hangover series. Mr. Cooper.
Oh, yeah, Bradley Cooper was there.
Mr. Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
There was a very little part in it, but I really liked what he did.
Yeah.
Something about the character he created, something in his mannerisms, not just the way he was made up, but the way he delivered lines.
It was really against type, I
Yes.
thought. Like, he's still handsome Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
But he was scummy.
He's a little scary, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought he was actually really good in it.
Yeah.
But I ended up, I think like you, coming out of this going, well, I
No.
I kind of like that. Like, I didn't really expect to. I thought there'll be some yucks here and there based on the trailer, but I thought it held together a little bit better than I expected it to. But you're right. I don't think there was really a signature style with this movie. It just kind of told the story.
It's haphazard, but enjoy the ride.
But it was fun. Although I think we are on the outs with our fellow critics. Most of them did not really like this very
Really?
much.
Okay.
If you look online and things.
Oh, yeah, sure. And in fact, I went in going, yeah, all these critics are right. I'm going to hate this movie. And I walked out going, huh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it wasn't that bad.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's one to see. I mean, maybe not rush out to the movie theater or something, but if you end up going to see a movie, or it's definitely if it's on cable, I think you'll enjoy it.
It's actually a great cable movie, I think.
Yeah.
The language is a little bad, so cable it will be just fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, I think people should see it. It's still not a great movie, but it's a big, big surprise.
It's a good, solid movie, though.
Yeah.
Oscar nom another for Jonah Hill?
No. For that laugh?
Not for that one. Yes, he does have a laugh.
Worst. I can't even do it right because it was the worst.
It's a little high.
Yeah.
A little high for you, I think.
It's more like that.
Don't do that.
I won't. At the end of the show, I will.
Anyway, let's go on back with the other two movies we're going to talk about. Kubo and the Two Strings, and then the remake, 2016, Ben-Hur.
The Movie Show, Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on KJZZ TV.
The diabetes drugs, Invokana, Invocomet, Parxiga, Zigduo, Jardiance, and Glyzombi have been linked to a serious condition known as diabetic ketoacidosis. Call the Rely On group today for a free consultation. There is absolutely no risk on your part.
Don't be a victim. Get the help you deserve.
If you or a loved one were diagnosed with diabetic ketoacidosis after taking Invokana or any other similar diabetic drugs, call 800-221-7127.
Hoagie from Monkey Beat Games. Hoagie, a card game of sandwich building fun from Monkey Beat Games.
Talk 365 studio space provided by Media Riff.
Welcome back to Talk 365. I'm Kent Dunn.
I'm Rich Bonaducci, and we're going to talk about the 2016 remake of Ben-Hur in just a minute. But right now, let's talk about the latest offering from Leica Studios. They're the folks that brought you the Box Trolls and Coraline and other stop-motion masterpieces.
Right.
This is another one. Oh, I gave it away.
See ya. I'm out of here.
Kubo and the Two Strings. Check it out.
Kubo, look.
The sword unbreakable.
It could be a trap.
Allow me.
What? It's not a trap if you do it?
Stealth is my middle name.
You don't even have a first name.
Don't worry, I got this. The mighty beetle is victorious!
Rich, you were mentioning Paranorman, you were mentioning Coraline, Box Trolls. I think those are great movies, but there's a disconnect with them. And I think parents would agree. Those aren't the movies that you're like, hey kids, I'm going to have you watch a movie for an hour and a half. Here's Paranorman.
In fact, when I mentioned to someone this studio with this movie, they went, "Oh, so it's a little weird.
It's a little weird,
like,
a little
it's
creepy.
a little off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. That makes it hard for people to really get behind.
Yeah.
The way you.
And then they've never achieved, I mean, quality-wise, great success.
Yeah.
But financially, I don't know how they keep making movies.
Yeah. We were talking about our friend Jimmy Martin who got to interview the folks at Leica Studios, and we were saying, oh, we wish we had, because one of the things I would say to them is, first of all, thank you for doing what you do, because it's awesome, but why do you choose to do like the hardest animation out there, stop motion? First of all, just see this movie. Secondly, stay through to the credits.
Yes.
Because they always do this at the end of the movies. They show a little bit of how they do it behind the scenes. Wish they'd show a little bit more. Amazing work these guys do. So let's talk a bit about the story for a moment, because the animation is awesome.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
So Kubo is, let's say, a 10-year-old boy, medieval Japan, taking care of his mother, who just seems very sick.
Yes.
And she doesn't say much. Let's just say things go poorly due to supernatural forces. His aunts want him to come home, if you will, and he has to go on this journey to find this mystical armor.
And he has these amazing storytelling talents where
Yes.
he creates origami and he tells stories with them that they're so awesome that people are enraptured and they want to hear what happens next. And that's kind of how he earns his money.
Yeah.
They throw him, some scraps and things, and he goes back and takes care of his mom. Lo and behold, we find out that his mom is actually magical, and so is he, and embarks on this amazing journey. And I hate to say it's so cliche, but this really is like a magical journey.
Yeah.
I really felt like, oh, this is such an awesome adventure. Like, I loved every minute of it.
I actually was waiting for it to fall apart a little bit, maybe drag, and I was like, this is not going to be for kids, this will be for adults. But all the way through, I felt like the child inside had woken up. Just to watch this journey, and he is joined by this beetle warrior, voiced by Matthew McConaughey, and Monkey. Monkey is her name. Right, voiced by Charlize Theron. And these three, Kubo, Monkey, and Beetle, have a great adventure that is easy to watch, more than easy to watch. It's hilarious and also just this beautiful story with a great message.
I will say that Matthew McConaughey's voice threw me just a little because he has a very distinctive delivery. And I just knew it was him the second he started talking. It took me out just a little.
So the southern drawl a little bit with the Japanese beetle.
With the Japanese samurai beetle, pulled me out a little, but not so much. In fact, he did a great job.
In fact, he did a great job because he comes off and you think, oh, this is going to be a doofus type male character. But what he is, he's more just naive and arrogant in a way that the humor keeps coming. It never gets tired, even though, because it easily could if he was just the dumb guy.
Right.
So, just the dialogue between Monkey and Beetle at all times. They're almost these proxy parents for Kubo.
Sure.
And it worked beautifully.
I will say this, it is funny in spots, but it isn't like a laugh-a-minute animation.
No.
It's not
when
one
it's
of those
funny,
kind
it's
of
funny.
things. When it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for some people, maybe they could have used a bit more comedy, but at the same time, I didn't really want it to be. It's a cool story, and it's not a funny story necessarily, but there are just funny parts along the way. And it is really adventurous because the aunts that he mentioned, the sisters to his mother, are magical as well, but on the dark side of things. Yeah. And they're really cool looking. And the way that they're presented and what they can do, the animation really takes it the rest of the way.
In fact, they may be the only things that are scary to children, but I think any kid and every kid should watch this movie.
I think it's just a great, amazing film. I would say the only thing that pulls me back a little bit on it, again, is Matthew McConaughey a little bit. I was hoping for a little bit more of a lighter thing for kids, but I really thought it was good. For me, it's like we don't have to give a grade, but it's like an A-. It almost hits that perfect mark for a movie for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, what does it take to get that perfect mark?
I
want to know. What was the last one?
Thing that I had an A to. But and one other thing to stick around for in the credits. I don't want to give away the song. There's a song in the credits, which, by the way, are also done very well.
Yes.
Like, great stuff to watch. And as soon as it started, it was sort of a Japanese 3-string guitar. I can't remember the name of it. And I went, is that what I think it is? And it turns out it's a remake of a song, and it's perfect.
Yeah, it's actually in the trailer, so you're not giving too much away,
Oh,
but
okay.
it is fantastic.
It's great.
Musically, this movie is incredible. Like I said, beautiful to watch as well. This is a straight A for me.
There you go.
I think this is animation perfection.
And I think you should see it in the theaters. It also is in 3D.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of 3D that you don't, oh my gosh, I have a headache. And
Yeah,
it
or
really,
it's too dark or anything.
It mattered.
Yes.
Like
yes.
When it's not needed, it's just had a depth to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was, there's a lot of scenes on the ocean or flying through the sky. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, whoa. It's really cool.
I think this is the pinnacle for Leica. I mean, I hope they keep climbing at this point, but
Yeah.
this is easily my favorite.
Yeah, I'm wondering now about animation for the animated film of the year. Because everyone thought Zootopia was going to
It
have
will
it
still
locked
be
up.
Zootopia.
Hey, there's my phone.
Hey.
Hey, well, that's Holly.
It's Holly. Hey, Holly. How's it going? We're just doing the show.
Just doing a show without you.
But yeah, I think Zootopia will win because it's Zootopia. It made a big impact. It also made $1 billion.
It made a lot of money.
But
if
we could recognize this smaller film that's not making a ton of money, please go see it.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think it's at least going to get nominated.
Yes, it will.
Which is still a great, great nod to it.
Yeah.
So check that out, and come on back, and we're going to talk about the remake of Ben-Hur.
Talk 365 studio space provided by Media Riff.
Panic Fire, a three-headed giant game from Quirky Engine Entertainment. In Panic Fire, a three-headed giant game from Quirky Engine Entertainment, players stand across the table from each other with nothing but a toy gun and a deck of cards between them. There are no turns in this lightning-fast, trigger-happy game as players attempt to make lethal combinations of face-up cards on the table, then scramble for the included electronic toy gun. After 6 frantic rounds of play, the last player standing wins. Panic Fire, a three-headed giant game from Quirky Engine Entertainment.
Attention Medicare patients. This is an important message from Medical Supply Helpline.
If you struggle with back or knee pain, you could receive a brace at little or no cost. Medical Supply Helpline connects you with a knowledgeable customer service representative that's available right now. The call is free, there's no paperwork to sign, and Medicare is billed directly. Call us today.
To learn more, call Medical Supply Helpline at 800-715-0590.
University Credit Union. Local to Utah, loyal to you.
Hello, welcome back to the show. We have already chatted about War Dogs, which you should see. Cool film.
Yeah.
Kubo and the Two Strings, which you should definitely see
Please.
and in the movie theater.
Seriously.
And now, Ben-Hur 2016.
It's the remake we all wanted.
This thing's been remade a ton of times,
Yeah.
actually. Everyone knows about 1959, but there are a lot of different versions of this. And
Well, even that was a remake in
right,
itself.
even that was a remake.
Yes.
That's Holly.
Hey, Holly.
Hey.
Well, let's take a look.
Oh, we're having fun now, brother!
So this film stars pretty much no one you know, other than Morgan Freeman,
Yes.
who is there to narrate the film, because if you got him,
It's-
you'll use him.
It's contractually obligated.
And he actually, based on the original story, because I read up on it a little bit, he actually fills in some parts that I was never cool with anyway.
Okay. In the Heston version?
Not
Okay.
even the Heston version, but the original book, the original novel back in 1880
You
or
did
whatever.
your research.
Yeah. There's a part where Ben-Hur is on the slave ship, and he eventually makes friends with the slave ship captain.
It's a little tough.
And that's the guy who helps him survive and get back into the games and all this stuff,
Okay.
the chariot racing. And I'm like, I don't buy that.
You've been breaking my back for 5 years.
Exactly.
Let's be buddies.
But I did buy that someone kind of found him and befriends him.
Right.
Because he needs him a little bit. And he eventually also shows him, Morgan Freeman's character shows him about chariot racing. Because
Yes.
I'm like, how does he's been on a slave ship for 5 years? How can you do that? But they actually gave like a montage and a training sequence, which
Yeah.
was kind of cool. And
but
it filled in some spaces for
but
the
you're
story.
right.
For
This
me.
was a biblical epic without any movie stars.
Yeah.
We have Jack Houston as Judah Ben-Hur.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. From
No offense.
Boardwalk Empire.
No offense, Jack.
He's also in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies as the
Hey,
villain,
hey.
but if anyone saw that. And also Toby Kebbell, who I personally love, but also no one knows who he is.
Yeah, he's that guy you'll go, oh, I've seen him in that movie.
He's usually a bad guy, and he is in this movie
And
too.
he is in this one too. The thing with this movie for me, I liked parts of it. I didn't like other parts of it. I didn't like that the beginning was so rushed. They're like brothers, and they go to frenemies over the course of a conversation.
Yeah.
And then betrayal. And then at the end, there's redemption that is also just as quick and really inclusive. And I went, those two things don't work for me. But in between, I actually liked.
Yeah,
Me
which is
personally.
surprising. This one is getting panned across
it
the
is.
board.
It is.
And that's fine. I mean, it is this kind of movie. I actually think this movie will be stronger, not in theaters, but in home video for families. Even though there's some stuff that's maybe a little too intense for kids.
Although it's PG-13.
Sure.
So they pulled back on some of it. There's some violence, especially in the chariot racing, but they pulled back on showing some of the other stuff. Nicely, I thought there'd be a ton of CGI, a lot of practical effects in this one.
Which, you're mentioning this to me before, and I totally agree. How did they pull some of that off?
They killed those horses. At the end, they said no animals are harmed. I'm like, I don't believe you. I mean, some of those horses.
It was
were dead.
really rough, actually.
It was.
I mean, I stopped caring for the humans. I'm like, but the horses.
And the horse.
Even if they're in the computer, but the horses.
Yeah. Now, Jesus takes a more prominent role in this movie than he has in past ones. And although that's cool, it's kind of strangely sporadic. Like, he just sort of pops up when he needs him, when the story needs him to.
Sure,
Yeah,
and
I mean-
offers some definite words of wisdom.
Sure.
And it is okay.
Because if you have Jesus there, wisdom is good to get.
Sure.
Pretty much.
Sure.
Morgan Freeman narrates, Jesus offers wisdom.
That sounds like the perfect movie.
That's what you do. But the thing that I did like about this movie, even though, again, the beginning was kind of rushed, and the end was kind of rushed, and the middle was kind of good. That whole slave ship thing, I was like, whoa, this is really
honestly,
well done.
Slave ship and the chariot race.
Yeah.
Great scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I was blown away. And I was like, oh, it's another chariot. They're going to just do another shout out for the old one. Really, really good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, the action sequences, even other than those two, because there's some skirmishes in between, really hard hitting.
Yeah.
I was like, this is some well done action. The thing that I did like about it is that it really does try to focus, even with all that action going on reconciliation, on forgiveness.
Yes.
And that's an interesting tack to take these days. Revenge films are great films.
They are fun.
Really easy. And there's some revenge going on in here, don't get me wrong, but they really try to focus on, frankly, Jesus' message.
Yes.
To turn the other cheek and love your enemies. Again, a rather risky thing to push
Risky,
in this day and
unconventional,
age.
especially at the end of summer or beginning of fall, wherever we are. But it honestly, it felt fresh.
I give them props for that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I would say it's a better than average movie.
I think so too.
So
This is weird.
I know, it's so weird. It's like, hey, it's a remake of Ben-Hur that no one wanted, and it's kind of good.
It is good. I think people, obviously, the way that you compare RoboCop with RoboCop or whatever, or Total Recall,
Yes.
they're going to compare it to Ben-Hur, 1959. It won 11 Oscars. It was okay.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at it as a reinterpretation of the original novel, and here's the story, it's a slightly different story than the one you know, but it's a good one.
And it's almost like Jack Houston and Toby Kebbell. They know, they're like giving it their all, but they know no one may see the end product.
Yeah.
And so it does feel like a squandered opportunity. I wish there was just maybe something else. I don't know what it would be. I mean, you have Morgan Freeman there. So, but it felt like something was missing, and maybe it was like the impact at the end. Because you're right, it was rushed. But I mean, I was in it most of the way. There were only a few parts that dragged, maybe when he came back to Jerusalem.
Right.
But everything leading up, which was half the movie, I was like, oh, I'm all the way in.
Yeah, that section of the movie there was a great build-up toward their confrontation on the chariots. I'm like, I'm in, like you, I want to see this.
You know, that said, everyone's going to get this confused with the Prince of Egypt or Moses story that came out a few years ago. Well, for the past several iterations, but definitely the Christian Bale version.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to say this movie is better than Exodus: Gods and Kings.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. That movie was kind of a mess.
Yeah, I'd rather see this one again.
Yes.
Yeah. So another one to check out. Okay, maybe not in the theaters, but certainly if you're going to rent something, It's not bad.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah.
What? We are way too positive today.
And our critic friends are like,
yeah.
Anyway, you've got one other thing to talk about really
I
quickly
do.
in this last segment here, which is, what's it called again?
Hell or High Water?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges doing his old voice.
Can you understand him?
Yeah. So
He's like the old school Tom Hardy.
He really is. They're just hanging out.
That'd be great. We gotta have a segment with Tom Hardy and Jeff Bridges.
Oh, please. Actually, can we cosplay as them?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. All right, going back, we'll talk about Hell or High Water.
University Credit Union. Local to Utah, loyal to you. Talk 365 set design provided by Consign and Design.
Welcome back to the show. Mr. Kent Dunn is going to chat with us now because I didn't see it. Going to chat with us about Hell or High Water.
You need to see this movie.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying. This is a modern day Western. It has, like we said, Chris Pine, Ben Foster, Jeff Bridges. Chris Pine, Ben Foster are two brothers in West Texas. No money. They're trying to earn back their mom's farm that the bank is taking away. Let's go rob a few banks.
Why not?
They do that. An old, almost retired Texas Ranger's like, I'm going to go catch these guys. And, you know, things go as they will. These guys don't really know what they're doing. At the same time, Jeff Bridges is a little too old to catch these guys. And it turns out to be a straight-up Western. This is a very cool, imperfect, but a very cool movie. It puts you right in the middle of the action and doesn't let up. I think this is a perfect movie to take your dad to. Like, better than Born, because, you know, that's like a dad movie. But anyone who appreciates Westerns but wants to see them done now and still relevant, great.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. I think I'll check it out.
You absolutely should. And it's funny, too.
My dad's in Pennsylvania, though.
Well, you know, call him up.
Where's your dad?
Well, you know.
Is he here?
Yeah, I took him to Born.
I'll go with your dad.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll make it a thing.
Okay, Hell or High Water, another good one to see. This was actually a good run of movies, even though, you know,
I think we've been waiting.
Kubo's up here,
yes.
the other ones were here, but they still are above average films.
We've been waiting a long time for this kind of weekend.
Yeah, because we were not having a good time this summer.
No.
Yeah.
And we're sorry.
I do have a joke for you.
Oh, that's why I did the movie review, so you didn't have to do a joke.
That's right.
All right.
Jokes every man should know. Don Steinberg. Wow. An old woman is upset at her husband's funeral. You have him in a brown suit. I wanted him in a blue suit, she says to the mortician. The mortician yells to the back, hey, we'll take care of it. Oh, yo, Ed, switch the heads on 2 and 4. Switch the heads on 2 and 4. How that's a joke every man needs to know, I don't know, Steinberg.
It's not my fault.
No, it's not in my book. It's given to me.
If you want to find my movie reviews, go to ShowtimeShowdown.com. Also, 2 podcasts at BaconCell.com and PodBash.com.
And check my stuff out on Fox 13 at between 7 and 8 in the morning, and also on Salt Lake Magazine. And of course, right here, Fridays on Talk 365. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you.